Welcome to Raw History. Here we cut through romanticization and speculation to show you the unfiltered reality of human history. The winter emergency no one prepared for. The Ardennes forest, December 1944. American soldiers faced conditions their commanders never anticipated. Dense fog grounded aircraft. Heavy snow blocked supply routes, and temperatures plummeted well below freezing. Standard sea rations froze into solid blocks that soldiers couldn't open, let alone eat. Equipment designed for temperate climates failed in the brutal cold. Men watched helplessly as their primary food supply became useless, concrete-hard cans that required hammers to crack open. In these desperate conditions, a small brown bar weighing 4 ounces became critical for survival. This was the D-Ration, and, understanding its development reveals how one man's obsessive attention to detail created an emergency food that worked precisely because it was designed to be unappetizing. Engineering survival, not satisfaction. So in April 1937, Army Quartermaster Colonel Paul Logan approached Hershey's chocolate and met with William Murray, the company president, and Sam Hinkle, the chief chemist. Logan's mission was deceptively simple: create an emergency ration that could withstand extreme conditions while preventing soldiers from eating it casually. His specifications were honestly precise and uncompromising. The bar had to weigh 4 ounces, provide 600 calories, withstand temperatures up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit and, taste a little better than a boiled potato. That last requirement wasn't carelessness. Logan deliberately wanted the bar unpleasant enough that soldiers would save it for genuine emergencies rather than treating it as a snack. Logan's obsession with creating the perfect emergency ration bordered on fanatical. He conducted up to 300 experiments, manipulating ingredients repeatedly to find the right fusion. He even tried kerosene at one point to deter palatability. The final formula combined chocolate, sugar, oatmeal, cacao fat, skim milk powder, and artificial flavoring fortified with vitamin B1 to prevent beriberi. The oat flour served multiple purposes beyond nutrition. It created a dense, chalky texture that made rapid consumption difficult and discouraged casual eating. Sugar content was deliberately reduced, while chocolate liquor was increased, creating that distinctive, bitter, unpleasant aftertaste soldiers universally complained about. The production process itself proved revolutionary. The temperature-resistant formula became a gooey paste that would not flow at any temperature. Hinkle was forced to develop entirely new production methods. Each 4-ounce portion had to be kneaded, weighed, and pressed into a mold by hand. Standard chocolate manufacturing equipment required partially melted chocolate that could flow into molds. The D-Ration refused to cooperate with existing machinery. In June 1937, the United States Army ordered 90,000 Logan bars and field-tested them at bases in the Philippines, Panama, on the Texas border, and throughout the United States. 3 weeks were required for production of this initial batch. Some of the bars even found their way into supplies for Admiral Byrd's third Antarctic expedition. The D-Ration entered mass production as America mobilized for war. In 1939, Hershey could produce 100,000 units per day. By the end of 1945, production lines on 3 floors of the plant were producing approximately 24 million units per week. That's roughly 3.4 million bars daily, a staggering increase driven by military demand. Between 1940 and 1945, over 3 billion ration units were produced and distributed to soldiers around the world. 3 bars wrapped together provided 1,800 calories, the minimum daily sustenance required for survival. The Battle of the Bulge demonstrated exactly why Logan's specifications mattered. On December 16, 1944, with thick mist blanketing the Ardennes forest, a German fighting force numbering 200,000 men and 1,000 tanks launched an all-out attack on unsuspecting Allies. Heavy snowstorms engulfed parts of the Ardennes area. While having the effect of keeping Allied aircraft grounded, the weather also proved troublesome because poor road conditions hampered advance. Harsh winter conditions subjected American forces to severe cold, often with inadequate winter clothing, while shortages of food and ammunition were common. At Bastogne, where the 101st Airborne was surrounded for 5 days, temperatures plunged to -20 degrees Celsius, and soldiers who didn't die of hypothermia were crippled by frostbite and trench foot. In these conditions, the D-Ration's deliberate design proved life-saving. While C-Rations froze solid and K-Rations became difficult to manage, the compact D-Ration bars remained accessible in soldiers' pockets. The bars didn't require water for consumption, which was absolutely critical when canteens froze solid. The high caloric density provided rapid energy that helped maintain body temperature and prevent hypothermia. The oat flour's complex carbohydrates offered sustained energy release rather than just quick sugar spikes. Soldiers could break off pieces with their bayonets and consume them slowly, exactly as the packaging instructed. The D-Ration was almost universally detested for its bitter taste by US troops and was often discarded instead of consumed when issued. The nickname soldiers gave it speaks volumes, Hitler's secret weapon for its effect on soldiers' intestinal tracts. It could not be eaten at all by soldiers with poor dentition, and even those with good teeth often found it necessary to first shave slices off the bar with a knife before consuming. The instructions warned that eating too quickly caused stomachaches or heartburn. Modern recreations of the original formula really do confirm its reputation. People who've replicated the bar using period-accurate recipes describe it as hard, crumbly, almost impossible to bite, with a dry, almost bitter aftertaste that, well, seems to expand in the stomach. The monotony of chocolate-only sustenance for extended periods created psychological strain beyond the physical discomfort. Soldiers developed temporary aversions to chocolate that, persisted years after the war. Veterans recalled trading valuable cigarettes or personal items to avoid consuming their D-Ration allocation when other food became available. In the China-Burma-India theatre, the bar gained the nickname dysentery ration because it was the only ration those ill with dysentery could tolerate, though its constipating effects made this a mixed blessing. By 1943, military authorities recognized the need for improvement. The procurement division approached Hershey about producing a confectionery-style chocolate bar with improved flavor that would still withstand extreme heat for issue in the Pacific Theater. The result was Hershey's Tropical Bar, which gradually replaced the original D-Ration by 1945. While attempts to sweeten its flavor were somewhat successful, nearly all soldiers found the Tropical Bar tough to chew and unappetizing. The bars were either discarded or traded to unsuspecting Allied troops or civilians for more appetizing foods. Resistance to accepting the rations soon appeared among those groups after the first few trades. The D-Ration's influence extended far beyond World War II. NASA drew directly from D-Ration research when developing space food bars for astronauts, prioritizing nutrient density and shelf stability over palatability. The Tropical Bar, actually remained a staple in subsequent wars. It even fed astronauts on the Apollo 15 mission to the Moon in the summer of 1971, and, believe it or not, was distributed to soldiers until as late as 1991. Modern energy bars, protein supplements, and emergency survival rations all in fact trace their conceptual lineage to Logan's innovation. The military's later Rations and MREs incorporated the fundamental lesson: emergency food must prioritize function over palatability. The principles Logan established, honestly, remain relevant for contemporary emergency preparedness. Compact nutrition matters more than gourmet experience. Environmental stability trumps variety. And, well, portability beats quantity. These aren't abstract concepts, but, practical realities learned through trial and error in combat conditions. Every protein bar in a hiker's pack, every emergency ration in a disaster shelter, carries forward Logan's unglamorous but essential wisdom. The D-Ration story reveals how wartime necessity drives innovation that, honestly, echoes across generations. Logan's obsessive experimentation, Hinkle's production breakthroughs, and Hershey's massive manufacturing commitment combined to create something soldiers hated but survival demanded. The bar worked precisely because it was unpleasant. Its bitter taste ensured soldiers saved it for genuine emergencies. Its dense texture prevented rapid overconsumption. Its temperature resistance meant it remained edible when everything else failed. These weren't design flaws, but deliberate features that saved lives in the frozen Ardennes, steaming Pacific jungles, and honestly, countless other desperate situations. The soldiers who endured brutal winters sustained by chalky chocolate bars deserve recognition alongside tank commanders and infantry heroes. Their survival through conditions that would kill unprepared troops, fueled by a deliberately unpalatable 4-ounce bar, really represents the unglamorous reality of combat logistics. The D-Ration wasn't romantic, it wasn't comfortable, but it worked. And that's what mattered. When temperatures dropped, supply lines froze, and survival became the only objective. If you appreciate discovering the unglamorous but crucial details that shaped history, subscribe to Raw History, share this with anyone who values evidence-based historical education that goes beyond surface narratives. The real story of the past lives in these overlooked innovations, the practical solutions born from desperate necessity. Together we'll keep uncovering them, one forgotten detail at a time.